Right. Train two baby vehicles to look at it.
Okay.
Take a look.
Okay.
When is it coming back?
Well, no, yeah.
Oh, God, not the same thing. It was probably. So this is there, so we can do more. And then we do that, you know. Right, so there's a point at which it doesn't make sense anymore, even though there is.
Yeah, it's in this guy here. Maybe go get the. Spotlight. Should I do? No, it should. You're too bad these linear lights don't.
Too good as a Golden Globes.
I went to Bronx.
Right, yeah. Science, even though it's sensitive to.
It's about, just over a mile.
You walked in the rain?
Interesting.
It's not bad. It's been worth it. My husband's gonna be able to. It's gonna get winter and windier. And then I'm doing.
No, but you already.
Yeah.
Walked.
It wasn't.
Yeah, go ahead. Almost got it.
So, yeah, my umbrella tried out.
Did it really?
It's a cheap, crappy umbrella. So bad. Would be a problem.
Monday. I got your report, those.
Right.
Oh.
What, like three? That's.
One of them take.
Oh, it's.
Okay, so five.
That's enough. You know, I got it.
Don't trip and fall.
Yeah, that's right. That guy.
The system to change the
Yeah, we just had that.
Number five, yes.
airman. But they.
Still to road.
It's quite like a safety. Yeah.
Well, that would be, what's it,
John's not coming? Be a man. We at least have before.
I saw on Board of Cities Elizabeth Road. They said not type SUV.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about.
Okay, is that what you're talking about?
Between noon and the south.
definitely. You can work with me that.
Syracuse.
Probably shares this, it's like a no.
Thank you.
Yeah. We don't really see it.
That's not, but that's not like a share.
Usually.
No, that's 10-foot asphalt path.
A real, honestly, the sheriff's would like anything at all. I think that's.
I don't think people even do that.
They don't,
Yeah.
and I think most of them are not, many of them are not visible anymore.
Fortunately, we had that period where we were told to put them everywhere, so that's what we did.
Yeah, no, that's like mine, I mean, it's just.
You sure that?
Why?
Well, and this year,
Still, you know, in
not much new people.
the Netherlands, like children get
There's gonna be a lot more.
bicycling in school, right? Like we get driver's ed, they get bicycling ed. Yeah, and they have to, they also have swimming things, like
We
you
don't
get a
do very-
certification by the time you're in like third grade that you can survive swimming. And it's required. So it's interesting,
What?
because they're near a lot of water. Yes. It's like that's part of it, but the biking thing.
Yeah.
But that makes people better drivers.
Right.
So. It's wet out there.
I was in some building and I was like, I don't even.
Yeah. But now, next year,
It's just over a mile from my house.
yeah, there's no problem for her. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I would be able to.
I'm a little wet.
I was talking to you guys.
Short
straw.
Fork and both of them go.
For those.
I think that happens, right?
Yeah, it's her a couple times. She blames it more on herself.
Stay there. It's the worst. It's like you have to do it. In the ring.
But if you're in a candy, so there's some.
I actually, one day, I even, I was like, I'm not even taking a phone.
Yeah.
It's
You guys use
totally
the
unbearable. It goes,
Yeah. Like updating and leaving stuff.
I'm not sure how there's a similar.
Yeah.
Good for him, I guess.
We were just saying that. I mean, we can do like the regular agenda, maybe just running late, doesn't have to be first. Yeah. All right.
We.
I think we're almost there.
All right.
1 minute.
So that checker gets the next one. I won't get any snowball.
I know, it's like you here, and I was like, oh,
But seriously, actually.
Like some.
You know your own.
And his is fancier.
I
I'm
know.
feeling a little bit of signage acting.
You don't like marble?
My phone marble. Although that, I mean, it's more appropriate since we are not city employees. Technically, we get paid by the city, so I think we are.
Yeah.
So you said the what?
You, about half the time, you don't want anybody to read this.
Okay, so that's Stelter, that's. paper.
Belcher's there.
Yeah.
Mark, you know, half the time, you don't want people to see your name.
Okay.
Put it on a scroll. Mine, I just turned mine over and it says Dan Moore.
Evan and I are flying out Monday, my parents are going.
All right, Kelsey, are you ready to pull the trigger? Good. Okay, I would like to call the first meeting of 2023 order, January 12th, 2023, with the National anthem, barring that, we'll have pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the republic, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our first order of business tonight will be to take a voice vote to table case number 5. And that is Z22-053, 1895 Stelzer Road. Motion,
So moved.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, case number 5 is tabled. If you're here to hear case number 5, you're a month early. Okay, let's start with our regular agenda. Case number 1, Z22-088, 7400 Fodor Road.
The 2.6 acre site consists of 2 parcels developed with a drive-through eating and drinking establishment in the LC4 Limited Commercial District. The requested LC4 Limited Commercial District will update the existing limitation text to remove graphics restrictions, therefore permitting electronic menu boards which may be internally illuminated. No other changes to the site are proposed with this request. North of the site is a commercial development in the LC4 Limited Commercial District. South of the site is parkland in the UC Urban Center District in New Albany. East of the site is a school in the UC Urban Center District in New Albany. West of the site is a shopping center in the LC4 Limited Commercial and CPD Commercial Plan Development Districts. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Northland Plan Volume 2 Preserve District, which does not contain specific land use recommendations. The site is located within the boundaries of the Northland Community Council, whose recommendation is for approval. The limitation text includes use restrictions and supplemental development standards that address building density, building and parking setbacks, traffic access, landscaping, screening, mounding, street trees, building design and materials, lighting, and graphics commitments. The requested LC4 Limited Commercial District updates the existing limitation text, removing prohibitions to electronic menu boards, which may be internally eliminated from being installed for the drive-through lane. The requested LC4 district and associated limitation text does not represent a change to the use restrictions or any of the other development standards previously approved with Ordinance 1510-96. The Northland Plan Volume 2 design guidelines do not explicitly discourage automatic changeable copy, and no other changes to the site are proposed with this request, and therefore City Department's recommendation is for approval.
Okay, any questions? Dan, any traffic issues?
No traffic issues.
And Mark?
The planning issues.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 1? Okay, Jeff, you.
Jeffrey L. Brown, attorney for the applicant. In 1996, when I rezoned this piece of property, I didn't anticipate the technological changes in signage. So we needed to do this so that they can upgrade to what you would expect to see when you go up to a reader board nowadays. When I was at Northland, after the meeting, which they approved the request, David Paul asked if I would put some bike racks in. And so I told them that we would put 2 bike racks on the site. And I will add that to the limitation text.
Great. Okay, well, I think it's a good idea to have a changeable copy because about every day a donut costs a dime more than it did yesterday. Any other comments? Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Please call the roll.
Janice Keith Shanklin,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
Kay Mukwe,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you are approved. Case number 2. Z22-001, 2870 Allen Creek Drive.
All right, please see your supplemental packet for a letter concerning traffic on Allen Creek Drive from a neighboring civic association. And we also have the recommendation of approval from the Far South Columbus Area Commission as well. The site consists of one undeveloped parcel in the PV8 Plan Unit Development District. The site is subject to Ordinance 0132-2022 passed by City Council and effective as of March 9th, 2022, which permits a multi-unit residential development with up to 40 units conditioned on the site rezoning to an appropriate district within 2 years of that ordinance effective date. That request was part of an application for Ohio Housing Finance Agency funding assistance. The applicant is now requesting an AR-12 apartment residential district to meet the stated ordinance condition above. The AR-12 district permits multi-unit residential development with a maximum density of 12 units per acre. North of the site is a multi-unit residential development in the PUD 8 unit development district. South and east of the site are single-unit dwellings and open space in the PUD 8 unit development district. West of the site is a truck terminal in the M1 manufacturing district. Concurrent CV 22-138 has been filed and includes a reduction to the required building setback along Allen Creek Drive. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. The site is within the planning area of the South Allen Creek Neighborhood Plan, which recommends single-family residential uses at this location. The plan also includes early adoption of Columbus citywide planning policies, design guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the Far South Columbus Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The requested AR-12 apartment residential district will permit a multi-unit residential development with a maximum of 12 dwelling units per acre, while the South Allen Creek Neighborhood Plan recommends single-family residential land uses at this location. Staff recognizes that the number of proposed units is consistent with the previously approved council variance at this location, and that the proposal is a continuation of the adjacent multi-unit residential development immediately north of the subject site. The requested AR-12 district does not represent a significant increase in density and is consistent with adjacent land uses, and therefore City Department's recommendations for approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Just a clarification, Ken, and that's the multifamily that directly north, that's that like long lodgy thing? That's
Yes,
the one,
yes.
okay. And but that is still under PUD
It
8,
was developed with the PUD 8.
okay. But okay.
Okay, Dan, traffic.
We're supportive of this application based on the unrestricted zoning district, and we're working with the applicant on a couple pedestrian connectivity commitments with the concurrent council variance.
And do you have any comment on traffic light issue?
It's unlikely that we would get a full traffic signal in the vicinity of this site. I would recommend that the author of that email contact our 311 customer service center. We do have staff that looks at pedestrian crossings, and certainly that's would be a candidate to be looked at, and they would be able to track that in their system, give it the appropriate priority.
Yeah, there's a couple really strong ones on North 4th Street. Catch. Okay, Mark, planning issue?
No other comments.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 2 on Allen Creek Drive?
Hi, Ms. Neal's.
Okay, are you with the applicant?
No,
Okay. Would you like to say something before or after?
normally I don't say too much.
Okay.
Tim's report is consistent. Actually, as a young associate, I zoned this in 2003 for the Affordable Housing Trust. There was an amendment later in 2003, just as we worked through a few actual construction site issues. So the site was zoned for 40 units, townhomes. We're just making it 40 units of attached multifamily because the technical definition in the city code for townhomes, attached homes, doesn't have to be 2-story, all the things that we think of for townhomes. It's actually just on a platted public street on a platted lot. So we're gonna do private streets, so we don't have platted lots. That's the only difference. So it says that it's apartment multifamily. It seems really weird. It should have been an amendment to the PUD 8 if I was in charge, but I'm not. That's okay. So that's what this little thing has to be evaluated on its own acres and on its own density. So that's why you see us here today. Now, I invited Ms. Neal to come with me because the chairman's on his game and he knows Ms. Neal is a longstanding member of the Far South Area Commission and the Alum Crest Civic Association, which is literally just across the street, that street that you see in the northwest corner of the picture that's up now. And so I knew to correspond with Ms. Neal when we came back for this. Ms. Neal is the one who sent the question. So the Far South Area Commission did not discuss the idea. It has nothing to do with our project per se, but it made an opportunity for the neighborhood to say, hey, listen, are we looking at the current needs? The city has said they will look at the current needs, but I wanted to make sure that Ms. Neal has an opportunity to tell you about that, because the Far South didn't put it in their recommendation. So I appreciate you bringing it up, Mr. Chairman. Eileen, you want to talk there? I'll put this in front of you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak before you this evening. We are not opposed to the development. However, we've got a major concern about traffic on Allen Creek Drive as it impacts residents all on the west side, which is Allen Crest Acres. On the east side, you've got 4 housing developments with the addition of this one coming. We do not have safe access to get to a bus stop. Bus stops are no good if we can't access the street. Many of you may not be aware, Allen Creek is in fact a freeway. 4 lanes and a turn signal. It's not wide enough. The 4 lanes were developed to assist the traffic for trucking. Oh, and yes, we got a trucking company, Ohio Dominion Trucking. We need a safe place for residents to cross the street. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If we continue building communities and not give them access to a safe way to get a bus, well, bus stops are immaterial. They're immaterial. We have none on Allen Creek. You got a performance traffic light there, not well maintained. The stripes, people don't walk across that street. I got teenagers that have part-time jobs trying to get to Children's Hospital, and they're darting across the street, trying to beat the buses, trying to beat the traffic. Let me tell you this. I live right across the street. I live there every day. We need a traffic light. I am proposing that we get a traffic light where pedestrian can push a button to get access to cross the street with lines that indicate and a sign that says stop. These truckers are not stopping. This is an issue that I brought up several years ago when they widened the roads. So our plea today is, please help us get a traffic light. Now I'm gonna tell you one other caveat. The individual that did the research on putting a traffic light out there said it would slow traffic. What do you think we're saying? The traffic needs to be slowed. So what I'm saying, our value system is kind of messed up. If they're valuing the truckers going up and down Allen Creek over the value of a human life, that's a problem. We need the traffic to slow down, and let me tell you, it's not going to slow down until they're required to slow down. Give you another example. You installed a traffic so-called crosswalk at Winslow and Allen Creek. It's right in front of the Scioto School and Columbus Park Apartments. They've got these flashing lights and they've got the stop signs. Let me tell you what happened to the stop signs. They're knocked over. They're sitting on the east side of Allen Creek and Winslow Drive, and the city has never came to get it. They're not following through even on that. That's a dangerous situation. In other words, you're saying, it's okay, trust these drivers. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. And so that's our concern. We need a traffic light. I heard this young man say that I need to contact somebody. Well, I think, Mr. Diedrich, did you not refer that to that young man?
I did send her.
Okay, so you want to give me a number to call? But I thought we were going through the process and you had that and that you would contact me. Okay, so now you're saying to me, let's do another hoop here. Now you need to contact this person. I don't know how many people I'm going to have to contact. I'm saying if I initiate it, someone should be contacting me about this issue. This is a big issue. And since you're going to live there, maybe it can impact you. But we're very concerned about the lack of a traffic light at Coble and Allen Creek Drive, which is directly across the street from all this development. Thank you for your time.
I think that's a reasonable comment, and I don't know, I've never been to the Winslow crossing, but almost every night I drive from the short north up North 4th Street, and I encounter those unbelievably strong flashing lights and the textured crossings, and you can see them a half a mile away, and they definitely get your eye. I don't drive a truck, but they do catch your eye, and they would do the job. But I think you can generate, everybody doesn't want to be faced with seeing somebody get hurt and say, gee, I wish we would have done something. So I think if you can give her that person or that contact.
Yeah, I'll follow up on the email that you sent.
And you've got, my number is on that email as well.
Mhm.
I think it's worth doing, but our job tonight's to vote on whether the use
I
is
understand that.
proposed is appropriate or not appropriate. But we'll make note of your, I think, reasonable request.
Thank you.
They need a couple touch points to hear about it, so we're giving one, we got one over there, I'm gonna do it too.
You should call,
I'm in a similar boat.
Miss Cantrell with Vision Zero. That's like literally
Yep.
her job.
Okay,
She's in the public service department too.
okay, awesome.
And their whole thing is eliminating pedestrian deaths.
All
Good
right,
job for that. It's awesome.
if anybody has any other questions, say so. Otherwise, I think we'll call the roll on this vote.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
Ken Luque,
Yes.
Janice Keith Shanklin,
Yeah.
and Chair Fitzpatrick.
I would vote yes in a heartbeat here, but you already passed, no matter what I do. I'm gonna vote no. So we fill out this form. You already talked about a couple touch points. This is another touch point. So we'll fill out if one person votes different than the others, we have to fill out a form. My form already says pedestrian crossing. I didn't get a chance to write or traffic light is really needed. So there's just another vote from our group here. So we heard you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is passed 4-1. And there'll be an information sheet that'll go to the city council to reinforce what you've asked for.
All right, I appreciate it very much. Thank you for your time.
You bet. All right, case number 3. Z22-056, 1291 West Mound Street.
The site consists of one parcel developed with a business that specializes in bulk container cleaning and maintenance in our rural district. The requested M manufacturing district will conform the existing manufacturing use. To the north of the site is an equipment rental agency in Franklin Township. To the south is a cemetery in Franklin Township. To the east is the former Cooper Stadium zoned in the CPD Commercial Plan Development District for racetrack and automotive research development that's under fruition. To the west is a warehouse in the LM Limited Manufacturing District. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Southwest Area Plan, which recommends community commercial land uses at this location. Additionally, the plan includes early adoption of the Columbus Citywide Planning Policies Design Guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the Southwest Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. West End Manufacturing District will conform the existing manufacturing use. Staff note and support the preservation of existing landscaping along the southern and eastern property lines, and also support the enhanced landscaping around the site's northeastern corner, consistent with the Columbus Citywide Planning Policies and Design Guidelines for landscaping, buffer, and use screening. Therefore, City Department's recommendation is for approval, and we have to answer any question.
Okay, any questions? All right, Dan, traffic issues?
No traffic issues.
And Mark?
No additional time issues.
And Kathy?
No recreation parks concerns.
Okay, great. Is the applicant here? Well, let's set this case aside.
Sean said he was going to send one of his representatives, or be a little late, so I'm just coming.
But we'll set this aside and pick it up when somebody gets here. We don't need to sit here and wait. Okay, so case number 3 is going to stand aside. Case number 4, Z22-059, 5700 Winchester Pike.
Fingers supplemental packet is an email from the planning division, elaborating their support of the updated materials and a few other comments on the site. The 71.6 acre site is undeveloped and pending annexation to Madison Township. The requested LAR 12 Limited Department Residential District and CBD Commercial Plan Development District will permit the mixed-use development with a maximum of 531 units and 627,000 square feet of commercial use space. The LAR 12 Limited Department District portion of the site consists of 3 sub-areas. The CBD Commercial Plan Development District consists of 1 sub-area with 627,000 square feet of unspecified commercial use. The north and south of the site is farmland in Madison Township. The east are single-unit dwellings in the LR2 Limited Residential District and a multi-unit residential development in the NC Neighborhood Center District. To the west are single-unit dwellings and farmland in Madison Township. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Southeast Land Use Plan, which recommends low to medium density residential and mixed use 1 at this location, as well as area-specific policy number 1, which interprets recommended land uses, generally with an emphasis on a high level of site architectural design. Within the area recommended for mixed use, area-specific policy number 2 applies, which calls for community commercial overlay standards land uses at this location. Additionally, the plan includes complete adoption of citywide planning policies and design guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the Greater Southeast Area Commission. These recommendations for approval. However, that recommendation form has not been received. The development tax commits to a plan and includes development standards addressing density, site access, landscaping, lighting, and graphics provisions. The requested LAR 12 Limited Apartment Residential District and CPD Commercial Plan Development District will allow mixed-use development. Planning Division staff generally supports the revised materials as presented in the staff report, and then Mark can elaborate on any comments. The Division of Traffic Management notes that there is a traffic impact study that has been submitted and reviewed and will need to be resubmitted. There will be offsite commitments that will need to be defined for this application. These are still undefined at this time. Final confirmation from the Planning Division that they are in support of the plan and ultimately support from the Division of Traffic Management. Staff's recommendation will be updated too.
Okay, any questions? Dan, big question with traffic.
Yeah, since the time that staff report was written, the revised traffic impact study has been submitted. It's still pending review by our division and also by the Franklin County Engineers Office. What we're looking at, there's most likely going to be contribution requirements for potential future improvements at the intersection of Bryce Road and Shannon Road, and then also at the intersection of Gender Road and Winchester Pike. And then what we'll also be looking at with our review is potential access limitations at the first access point to Bryce Road north of Winchester Pike. The county's also they have jurisdiction of Winchester Pike, and so they may also be requiring commitments based on their review of the study.
Okay, so there's quite a bit of work yet to do. Can you paint a picture of whether anything is positive or is it very much in a cloud right now?
The applicant's been working with us, and presuming they address the county's access comments, that it really seems to be a matter of putting a number to the contributions. And then, defining the access commitment that we have, and then putting that into paper, into the development text.
Okay. And that brings us to Mark. I'm looking at your January 10th letter.
Yeah, just to summarize our email here, planning has 2 outstanding requests that are relatively minor. One is with the CPD sub area, consistent with the area-specific policy that Kelsey identified for community commercial overlay standards.
ask for the CPD text to be revised to be more in line with those standards, which is no parking or circulation between the building and the roadway. Recognizing the shape of the site, if that was not feasible, we would ask for landscaping or screening along the roadway in the spirit of those guidelines, those standards. And our other remaining request is for the parkland dedication in the northeast corner, and that is to just provide a stub path into the parkland in the event of future redevelopment to the north. There would be an opportunity to connect it to that parkland and that connectivity. That's all.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak regarding this application? Case number 4. Okay. Laura, you got it?
I will only add a few key points here. So the Mark's points are easiest to address. The red line text has the urban UCO language. We don't know exactly what they want in terms of headlight screening or something. We can absolutely do that. This line is the one we connect. I think what they want us to do is turn it up a little. We can totally do that, right? So that's no problem. They want a connection between the sub areas. So we did this. What Mark's saying is, can we turn our path and make it go right there? The answer is yes. So it's that simple. The standards at the bottom were just for some additional either headlight screening or some kind of decorative landscaping. We can absolutely do that. And I think the text already includes all the UCO. Because of the funky shape, we only have a drive aisle, no parking in front. So we allowed the drive aisle. So that was the compromise there. And so then the rest becomes traffic. And so we got 2 full-blown traffic studies. Daniel put it out there directly. When we do our traffic studies, we talk about what's our exact site-specific improvements and then what are the regional. So we are fitting into the standard outline for the city. We're doing that now. So it just comes down to really to fine points. And as far as Franklin County, because Franklin County has jurisdiction for Winchester Pike, we're not expecting a lot of changes. The question will be, how long are the turn lanes? And so that's the final issue with Franklin County. I think in the pink area, we have 2 because there's a lot of frontage there. We have 2 access points. We're going to have a minimum of 1. We think we can have 2. The question is, how big are the turn lanes as between them? So otherwise, I mean, that's just the final points. We don't go past you. We don't go past council until that's resolved. All of those get put in writing, the commitments, before we get there. So otherwise, all of the land use, the buffering issues, internal drives, the spacing in between, all of that is, I think, pretty settled.
Okay. You understand with traffic issues, we delve into appropriateness of use and come up with a judgment and vote accordingly. When it's a little bit iffy with some things, I generally tell the applicant, you, that you're handing the city a blank check or Franklin County Engineering a blank check. And they'll tell you how many traffic lights and improvements you need to pay for and you need to pay for, or you need to come back and start this whole thing over. So this is a little bit of a provisional vote based on finishing the traffic studies, getting all the details ironed out, getting all that language embedded into what city council votes on. You're
Understood. Yep,
okay.
absolutely.
Anybody else have a comment regarding the provisional? Okay, call the roll.
Kenny LaQuay,
Yes.
Janice E. Shanklin,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Gold, Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Okay, case number 5 has tabled. So we will go to case number 6. Z21-044, 1096 West 3rd Avenue.
In your supplemental packets, you'll find some correspondence I received in the form of emails over the last 2 days. letters of opposition from neighboring residents expressing concerns with the density of the development, terms and relations to the concurrent council variance for setbacks, lot coverage, as well as concerns with overall landscaping of the development and lack of open space. The 0.31 acre site consists of 3 parcels developed with a parking lot located on the south side of West Third Avenue, zoned in the M Manufacturing District. The requested AR1 apartment residential district will permit a multi-unit residential development at this location. To the north is an industrial warehouse in the M Manufacturing District. To the south are single-unit dwellings within the city of Grandview. To the east is a commercial garage. To the west is a commercial warehouse, both in the M Manufacturing District. Sites within the planning boundaries of the 5th by Northwest Area Plan, which recommends mixed-use land uses at this location. It also includes the early adoption of the Columbus citywide planning policies, design guidelines. Concurrent council variance CV 21-066 have been filed for a proposed multi-unit residential development demonstrating 9 total dwelling units. Variances for permitted uses, building height, vision clearance, lot coverage, building setback lines, and perimeter yard are included in that request. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered this Development Commission meeting. Site is located within the boundaries of the 5th by Northwest Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The requested AR1 apartment residential district will permit a multi-unit residential development in conjunction with concurrent council variance CV 21-066. The proposed use is consistent with the mixed-use land use recommendation of the 5th by Northwest Area Plan and with other developments in the surrounding area. Proposed AR1 district does not consider the introduction of an incompatible use to the area, therefore our city's recommendation is for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, Dan, what do you think about traffic here?
All traffic issues have been resolved.
Great. Mark
No outstanding planning comments.
and Kathy.
No concerns.
All right, is anybody here to speak regarding this application number 6 tonight? Nobody's here. Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, my name is Dave Perry. I'm here as agent tonight for Roby Development. Let me ask the 2 gentlemen with me to introduce themselves for the record.
I'm Joel Roby. Carrick Sherrill, the project architect.
It's really quite amazing what has happened with development over the last 10 or 12 or perhaps longer years, where the focus has changed incredibly to urban redevelopment as opposed to much less greenfield redevelopment that we were seeing prior to that. This site is exactly that, an urban redevelopment site. Roby Development controls the entire block from Holly to Oxley, and there was an initial zoning application for the whole block. The site, on the east end of the site, there's a building known as the AAA building, but you'll notice also a very large area of outside concrete and fencing. There have been a number of uses at this property over the years that involved outside storage and industrial uses. This site and large areas of West Third are zoned for manufacturing. The 5th by Northwest Commission has seen an enormous amount of urban redevelopment projects, and this is just another one. The 5th by Northwest Plan supports the redevelopment of this site with multifamily and mixed-use development. After Joel considered the existing building further, he decided to keep it and is spending a considerable amount of money on turning it into his company offices by adding a second story and major interior remodeling. So the site area for the initial zoning application was reduced to the area the staff has marked on the plan. It's about 1/3 of an acre. And the proposal is to rezone that area to AR1. And there's a pending variance application that goes with it for typical urban development standards, variances, building lines, perimeter yard, and so on. The development project is 9 townhouse units, as Joe is depicting on the screen now. After the project changed, I initiated contact with neighbors to the south. The alley that is the south side of this property is the City of Columbus, City of Grandview Heights Corporation line. So all of the neighbors to the south are residents of Grandview Heights. But in September, I initiated contact with a neighbor that I know from other development work. He's an architect at Ford Architects. And initiated with him, meeting with the neighbors to talk about the project. And we met at the site for an hour and a half in September. And there's been regular correspondence between me and that neighbor since then. There were a number of requests of the community group, the neighbors to the south, that I can enumerate for you if you wish. But Joel and Carrick took those comments seriously and addressed them as best we could. The site is squeezed by a considerable right-of-way take, 40 feet from center line on West Third. The city has West Third improvements related to, in particular, a multi-use path that I gather the West Third has been designated as a bikeway commuter corridor, and the city plans a multi-use path on West Third to connect eventually to Olentangy River Road. And we have 2 street frontages, so we have 2 setback requirements with the 2 street frontages. And all that is to say that building lines and perimeter yard have been routinely varied with urban development projects. So the proposal before you tonight is the AR1 zoning. The council variance will be conditioned on the site plan that Joe had up, showing the 5-unit townhouse building and the 4-unit townhouse building. We've also gone through the city's preliminary site compliance plan review project and are completely comfortable with all the technical review comments and engineering comments that result from that process. So that being said, we made some adjustments to the plan, moved forward through the 5th by Northwest Area Commission process. The zoning committee voted unanimously for the project. The 5th by Northwest full commission voted 4-1. And there was a very interesting comment made by the chair that I want to read to you on the area commission response. Commission finds variances reasonable, taking into account local citizen input, particularly alley side of property. So the commission heard the neighbors. We worked with the neighbors repeatedly, and we're here to request your vote to move forward on the zoning. City council will hear the variance request, but I just learned of the emails from Joe this evening, and I have scanned them, and I'm surprised that it is repeating things that we've already addressed, and so on. So I will make one last effort to reach out to the neighborhood contact about that, but the emails are surprising to me given what has transpired over the last several months.
It looks, you got a unanimous approval by 5th by Northwest, you accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
You will have to get those variances, and obviously it goes without saying that fire trucks need to do what fire trucks have to do to get approved by the fire department, or you can have all this zoning and not get a building permit. So a lot of bases have to be touched here.
Exactly, Mr. Chairman, and that's why we did the preliminary plan review process. Garrett made some adjustments to the south building as a result of discussions with the fire department. And so, for example, for emails to be talking about it doesn't meet the requirements of fire access, we know that it does.
Well, and there's a fine line where that'll either be approved or not.
Yeah.
I think I don't have the purple ensemble like one of my cohorts has, but as an architect, I say those buildings have a nice scale and they fit into the Grandview pattern pretty darn well. Okay, any other questions or comments from the commission?
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, I know there's, I don't know how mature the trees are, but there are some standing trees in front at the moment. I know one of the concerns was green space. It's not easy, but by the same token, part of the urbanization is that we are getting runoff like nobody's business, and I don't want to hear about the stormwater requirements. I understand them. I just am wondering, in terms of permeability, I saw that it looked like there's, if you're shortening that frontage, what is the expectation in terms of the trees? What did I see, 3 or 4 or something along that frontage? Is that about right? I'm just trying to
Yeah,
get
there
ahead
are,
of that.
there are two existing street trees. There were more over the years. There's stumps
Yeah,
that's
there-
on there that they've been removed for one reason or another. Trees were discussed with Kathy. There was a preference indicated to leave them. The trees are about 5 feet approximately from the curb. And by the time, if and when the city builds a 10 or 12-foot shared use path,
Yeah,
which
could really use.
I don't know that there's going to be, I don't know that those trees are going to be, I don't know that those trees are going to remain because the shared use path is going to excavate the drip line. But we'll see. And the city indicated a preference to keep the trees, so they're staying.
Okay, cool beans. Thanks.
Okay, please call the roll.
Yeah.
Oh, Kay, did you have a comment? Oh, sure.
Janice
Wait a minute, you're good, Kay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, okay.
Janice Shanklin,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
Kay McQuaid,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved.
Very good. Thank you.
Applicant is here for Z22-056, so we can go back to it next.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to case number 7, get that off the table, and then Sean will come back to you.
Thanks, guys.
Because I don't want to have to shuffle these papers. And right?
I
I'll probably get her wrong.
thought it was last time.
Okay, please read the report for case number 7.
Site consists of a 12.9 acre undeveloped portion of a larger parent parcel zoned in the R rural district. Site has recently been annexed by the city and is pending a lot split. The requested LM limited manufacturing district will permit limited commercial and industrial development at this location. To the north is undeveloped land in the LM limited manufacturing district. To the south is right of way for Interstate 70. To the west is an industrial manufacturing facility, M2 manufacturing district, Dan and Prairie Township. To the east is partially developed industrial land and storage in the R rural district. Aside from the planning boundaries of the Tradeview Roberts area plan, which recommends light industrial land uses at this location. Besides within the boundaries of the far west side area commission, whose recommendation is for approval. Limitation text establishes use restrictions and includes supplemental development standards that address the height, traffic access, and graphics provisions. At the time the staff report was written, the traffic access study was still in progress, which was calling for a need for additional access commitments or turn lane improvements. But based on emails I received today, the traffic access study has been accepted. The requested LM limited manufacturing district will permit limited commercial and industrial development at this location. Planning division staff are supportive of this as the proposed use is consistent with the Tradeview Roberts area plan's recommendation for light industrial land uses. Use is not considered to be an introduction of an incompatible use and is consistent with the development pattern in the surrounding area. Based on correspondence received today, our recommendation has been upgraded to approval based on the acceptance of the traffic access study. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, sounds like it was a big day. Anything that we don't know about traffic?
Able to approve the study about 2.5 hours ago, and no commitments or turn lane improvements or.
It wasn't really a buzzer beater, it was 2.5 hours. Okay, any questions? Okay, Melissa, you want to add anything to the staff report?
My name is Rebecca Mott with the Plank Law Firm with an office address of 411 East Town Street, Columbus, Ohio, and I'm just here to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? How bad is it raining outside?
Not that.
Okay, please call the roll. Oh,
I didn't know if you had done your thing of wrong, but those guys.
I can see here that these are lawyers.
I mean, it's Mark.
That should. Mark, do you have anything to add?
No, that's fine.
There you go.
And Kathy,
No comments, thank you.
are you thrilled or?
I'm thrilled, there are no comments.
There you
Okay,
go.
okay, now we'll call the roll.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
Cam Woodway,
Yes.
Denise Keith Shanklin,
Yes.
and Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Sean, we have case number 3D22-056, 1291 West Mount Street.
Would you like me to do an overview again?
Does everyone remember?
Yep.
Okay, everyone is a fabulous student.
Perfect. Our I'm for Gannett.
Okay, let's go to traffic and see if you have anything you want to.
No traffic issues.
And Mark?
No planning issues.
Okay,
No recreation parks issues.
no, still not through.
She's thrilled.
Well, yes, I guess. Okay, you've got your approvals, the conditional change, approval change to approval. Sean, do you want to add anything to your?
I think you might have a speaker.
Oh, Jeff, you're a speaker.
Yes.
I wondered
I
why you
thought
were.
you were. Oh, my gosh, he's an applicant.
That's right. Well, 2023, I thought I'd do something different. I'm Jeff
You
Brown.
guys got to put on jerseys.
Yeah. I'm here on behalf of the owners of Cooper Stadium. They had some questions about some screening along the east property line. If you look at that drawing, it's at the right side of the picture there. And so Sean and I are trying to work that out. And so I just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay, you're
I mean,
cooperating.
he's got some screening that he's proposed. He did a drawing, hand drawing worse than mine.
It wasn't my draw.
Hey, Jeff has shown up here with crayon. That's all they're drawing.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all. I just wanted to make that point and put it on the record. But I think based on our last conversation, we ought to be able to work something out.
All right, so we'll make, it is in the record, and you both know you got a little work to do. I don't think that affects our vote on whether it's appropriate use or not appropriate use. It's just a detail that has to be defined by the time you get to city council. You good with that?
Sure, yeah, we are having a conversation about screening. I think they want a little more, want the opportunity to come in and supplement the screening that we may put. I mean, this, been on site since before it was annexed in. It was annexed in 30 years ago, and whoever brought it in didn't rezone it. So when they went to do some work, they got a note from the city that said you're zoned residential, and they couldn't figure out how to happen. So that's what brought us here today, so.
Well, at least it wasn't zone baseball stadium. Okay, I think we have enough to make a decision on and go forward. The record will state that you're going to work together and you're very trustworthy, even though you're lawyers, you're very trustworthy. So, and that resolve, please call the roll.
Amanda Gold,
Yes.
Dave McQuaid,
Yes.
Denise Keith Shanklin,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved.
Thank you, and sorry that I wasn't able to start.
Hey, we went right on, put you at the end.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Just like putting in a new batting order.
I talked to him earlier, I said, I gotta go to this meeting, it's his daughter that kept me late.
Now that's
I don't
trouble.
think I really want to know.
That's it. She works for. Chair, we still have the matter of, appointing somebody from the development.
Yes.
To the housing council. I was not aware that Jeremy would be here tonight. I didn't hear from him, but I think it's safe to say that if somebody on the board is, or on the commission is interested in joining, then they can express that interest.
I have seen that interest represented and expressed.
So Commissioner Denise P. Shanklin is expressing interest. I think what I'll do is just email him tomorrow and you guys can communicate whatever that. I don't
Would you
think-
like us to do a voice vote?
I don't think we need an official action. I think it's just,
Would you like us to carry her in there on our
yes,
shoulder?
yes.
I don't think.
A parade would be great.
Okay, I think that's a good idea, and it's a role that somebody has played on this commission all along, so glad to have you take care of that. Okay,
That's it.
let's go forward with it.
Yeah.
In that situation, we will call the roll, even though Kathy was not thrilled tonight.
No, she was.
Well, but not especially.
She's always